The cottontail nodded her head to the little ones, and they all formed a line and bowed low to the grandfather. Then she stepped in front of them and she said, "They will take better care of the house than I." Then she counted them up two by two as she put her hands on the heads of each pair. She said, "These are my sweepers. They keep the cottage as clean as your hand. These make the beds without a wrinkle. These cook my dinner. These wash the dishes. These tend the gardens. These wash and dry all the clothes. These do the mending. These sing and these dance to keep us merry while we work. These are learning tip hand pretty pictures for us all for our walls. And this little one of all always pulled out my chair for me when I sit to table. So you see I can leave them to take care of the house until I come home." Then the old kind wise grandfather said, "You have proved yourself to be not only wise and kind and sweet, but also very clever. Come to the palace tomorrow afternoon, for that is the eve, and you shall be my fifth is the bunny." Woohoo! The next evening, Cottontail knocked on the big front door and was admitted to the palace. There she stood in her funny country clothes, but none of the other four Easter bunnies laughed, for they were wise and kind and knew better. They showed her all over the palace, from room to room, and piled high with eggs of gold and silver, and eggs that glittered like snow, chocolate eggs, marshmallow eggs, eggs for rich children, and eggs for poor children, and for children who were sick and children who were well all over the world. There's a lot of chocolate egg. There's a lot of eggs. Then, as soon as it was dark enough for the children to be asleep all over the world, the old kind grandfather's gave the word, and the fifth bunny set to work as fast as they could. First bunny, then another would take up a large egg or a pretty little basket, and in a single hop would be out of the palace and away out of sight. Then in a moment he would be back again, and before you could say Jack Robinson, he would have whisked away again. Slowly the night wore away, and the bunnies began to look tired as they kept returning for more and more eggs. And in the palace, the glittering pearls grew smaller and smaller. Poor little Cottontail was very tired, for this was the first time she had ever gone so far or so fast in her life, and she was beginning to hope that she could soon take the little basket that was set aside for her own children and go hopping home. When old wise kind grandfather called her to him, when she went close, she saw that he was holding in his hand the loveliest egg she had ever seen. It glittered like a diamond. "Peek through and see what you shall see," he said. So she peeked through the little hole in one end, and she saw a beautiful scene with a slate and a lake with people skating on the ice. And he said, "Because you have such a loving heart for children, I am going to give you the best but the hardest trip of all. Far off over 2 rivers and 3 mountains, there is a great mountain peak, and in a little cottage on that peak is a little boy who has been ill for a whole year, and who has been so brave that never once had he cried or complained. The mountain is so high that there is ice on the top, and it will be hard to climb. But if you get there, you will get more happiness than any other Easter bunny. Cottontail picked up the egg very gently and went hopping away on her journey. She crossed the first river and then the second. She went over the first mountain and the another mountain and yet another until the last she reaches the high mountain of all. So nice. She was very tired when the last she got the bottom of the great peak, and her heart failed at her when she saw how high it was and how slippery with ice and snow on top, but holding the egg. Very carefully, she started hopping up. At last, she reaches the ice and snow, and now she was almost to the top, and she could see the little cottage all covered with snow, where the little boy was sleeping. Then a terrible thing happened. Oh my. Her foot slipped, and down she came downward. She fell into snowdrifts. Then she left the ice and snow roaring and bouncing against the stone. She felt the air getting warmer. Oh my. Down, down she went, and she crouched through a thicket of budding laurel, rolled across a pasture, and finally stuck against the trunk of a great apple tree that was just getting ready to bloom for Easter. And there she lay with the egg still safely clutched in her palms, but with a great pain in her leg. She tried to rise again because she saw a lovely pink light in the sky, and she knew that in a few minutes more it would be day, and the little boy would be sad if she did not get his egg to him. But the pain was so bad she fell down. Then she felt something touch her shoulder. She looked up, and there, right before her, way off there in, oh, that distant land was old wise kind grandfather Barney, and he smiled at her, and he said, "You are not only wise and kind and sweet, but you are also bravest of all the bunnies, and I shall make you my very own gold shoe." Is the bunny, and he reaches over, and she saw for the first time that he was holding a tiny pair of gold shoes in his hand. And he bent down and put them on her foot. Suddenly, all of the pain left her leg, and she stood up and picked up the precious egg. Then, before she knew that was happening, she felt a sudden motion, and she found herself flying high in the air over the pasture. She flew over the roller, over the stone, until at last when she landed, she looked back, and she saw that one single jump had carried her halfway up the mountain. Then she jumped once again, and there she was at the cottage door. Quickly she squeezes through the tiny crack that had been left open just in case the bunny did come out that way. And so cute. In the hand of the beautiful sleeping boy, she placed the egg. Then, just as the Easter morning sun rose over the edge of the world, she jumped quickly back to the palace. When she found her little basket for her own little bunnies and went hopping back home to give them a happy Easter, Mother Cottontail found that The garden was tended. And sure enough, just as she had said, everything was in order. The floors were sweeping, and there were two lovely new pictures painted and hanging on the wall. The dishes were washed and shown in the cupboard. The clothes were washed and mended and nicely hung away. And her 20 children were all sound asleep in their little beds. The end. That's so cute. The little house of Mother Cottontail can always be told now from the home of all other bunnies because in a special place on the wall and a very special hook hangs a pair of very tiny little gold shoes. The end.